Hello everybody and welcome along to season 32 of TGP2. It's week number 2, we're round 3 and we're at the fantastic Albert Park circuit in Melbourne, Australia. We've had a fantastic season so far in TGP2 with some very close and clean racing in the series so far, and we're hoping for 2 more great races tonight as we head around the Albert Park circuit and then into Italy to race around Imola. I'm Mike Noon and I'm joined in the commentary box tonight by John Luke Taylor. John, good evening, how are you?
Good evening, Mike. I'm well. Looking forward to the second week of the brand new season of TGP2 on F122, and it's looking like it's already going to be a close one with the top 3 separated by just under 3/10 so far.
Yep, top 3 separated by just under 3/10 on the track, and the top 3 in the championship separated by just 4 points. As we mentioned, we had an interesting opening week. We had John Menzies taking 2 pole positions. He's your man on provisional pole position at the moment. But we had race winners, obviously last week with Dom, who closed the gap to my good self in the total TGP2 wins tally. Just 2 behind me now. If he wins both races tonight, he will equal the record. And then Sully taking his first win this opening night in TGP2, running around Saudi Arabia. So 2 interesting races, as we said last week. We've got a good race set up here for tonight, Johners. And we've had a qualifying session so far. We've had a few people spinning and throwing it into all these new cars, obviously providing challenges for drivers. Just describe to us a little bit why the cars are so much more difficult to drive this season.
Yeah, so mainly it's obviously the huge overhaul in the regulations between last year's game and this year's means the cars just sort of handle a bit differently. There's not so much aero on the wings now; it's more dependent on the floor. So into the corners, the front end's not quite the same as it was, and the back end can get a bit lively if you're not quite as you're riding over the curbs, and it's just a bit torquier on the power as well, so it's a bit easier to spin the rears up and spin the car around, and that's what we've been seeing so far with a few of the guys just losing the back end going around in corners. Makes some of the corners a lot more challenging than they would have been in last year's game, particularly the last corner, and even corners that wouldn't have been so much of trouble in the past. Turn 4 is, well, I say it's less troublesome. In the past, that was always a bit of a problem corner, but the last corner in particular, and this one at the start of sector 3, you go for the left, right, the fast chicane, but the new layouts to Australia, the 90-degree right-hander, that can catch people out as well, and the way the circuit has just been a bit smoothed out around here, some of the corners are a lot more open. You've obviously missing the chicane in sector 2 now, that's just a flat-out blast through to the left-right chicane, and I think you might have spotted something there, Mike.
Yeah, sorry, we're running on board with John Menzies while you're giving us that fantastic overview of why the cars are a little bit more tricky this season, particularly around a circuit like this. And John, our provisional pole sitter in the Aston Martin, just going a little bit wide, coming out of that fast left-right chicane at the start of sector 3 that you were warning us about, and he's just gone wide at the penultimate corner as well. Unsurprisingly, the Aston Martin driver peels off into the pits. And man, as we said, he took 2 pole positions last week, didn't convert either of them to a race win. He's clear. So far, it seems that he is the quickest man in the field. But John, why do you think he's been able to convert them into race wins just yet?
I think it might just be a little bit of race rust for John, because it's been a long time since he was last in TGP. He was obviously in TGP right at the beginning back in 2011, and it's his first full season in a long time. And I think it just given him a little while just to shake the cobwebs off in race trim. Of course, going by his qualifying performances last week.
Oh, Jacko, sorry to interrupt you there, Jean. Jacko, another man returning to TGP2. He's been in it for a long time, really struggling this season, and he's just found the wall rather than a quick Sector 1 time. Mercedes driver in trouble, another man who really struggled in week number 1, and he's pulled the car over to get out the way of the car passing through. Who I believe was, not sure.
It was
Joe Sayer.
Sayer Sports, yeah. Joe will be looking for a good result. Birthday boy yesterday. I think he'd want to get himself up on the podium here in Australia as a little birthday treat to himself.
Yep.
I think his lap, he did a bought the lap after the yellow flag.
We've got Blair Grills, who's just flown past him, who is improving, going through the middle sector. He's up by almost half a second. The AlphaTauri driver, currently at the moment P9, just over a tenth of a second behind his teammate Owen Quimby, who is the man currently in third in the championship. 2 solid results for Owen last week, including a podium finish. And he's coming round then up to the penultimate corner, this opened up penultimate corner now. And as he gets on the power, coming round the final corner, going up through the gears, stamps on the throttle, gets the DRS open. And as he comes towards the line, are we going to see an improvement from the AlphaTauri driver? He moves up to 7th. Just 5,000th of a second behind Joe Sayre, who we could just see behind him starting a lap. We've also got Daniel Peel-Wheelnut on a lap, John, and the McLaren driver coming to the end of Sector 1.
Yep, he's ever so slightly up in the first sector, just 14 thousandths of a second. He needs to get another 3.5 attempts to try and challenge John on pole at the moment. This is the obviously new part of the circuit, the flat-out blast through the second sector towards the left-right chicane, which has caught so many people out in both TGP1 and TGP2 in the past, and he's not improving on this lap. He's a 10.5 down, takes it quite tidily through the chicane, not the quickest possibly. He keeps his foot planted to the floor now, DRS in this zone to the left, to the right hand at 90 degree, runs a little bit more curb on the exit, maybe a little bit wide. He's keeping it well between the lines of so it's looking tidy. It might not be necessarily the quickest. Doesn't quite catch the apex in the second last corner. This corner can catch you out as it did there. I said that can happen with the cars. The road grip isn't quite the same. He gets to the line though. Actually found time in the last sector on that lap compared to his previous best. Doesn't improve. A 10th down, but he's not going to be able to.
I tell you, it's finding time though, Jean. Dom Smith, purple through the middle sector. He's 2 attempts up on his personal best. The man, as we said, who can equal the race wins tonight with 2 victories. He's had enough pole positions in his time, but not quite near the top 2. But into the final few corners he goes. He was purple after the second sector. Sayre Sports has just got up into the front row. A great lap at the moment. We've got an Aston Martin 1-2. But can this Ferrari do anything about it? Dom's run a little bit wide in the penultimate corner. As he rounds the final corner now, he gets the DRS open, and it's just a run to the line. And are we going to see an improvement on a 118.8? He gets to the line, and he does a 118.80. How's Jean doing? John's not finding time, and in fact he's backed off. He looks like he's had it off, and that's it. That's going to be his qualifying over.
There is another to keep an eye on, Jack Craig, P4 at the moment. He's just pretty much matched his best in Sector 1. He's only a 10.5 off pole position. Daniel Peel-Wheelnut in P5 has backed off as well. Looks like speed study and tip is done, so Jack Craig, the one to keep an eye on. The Alfa Romeo coming through the second sector now. And as he comes through the second sector, he's ever so slightly up. He could just sneak P3, but he's invalidated.
He's ruined his chance, and surely that means, unless barring a major improvement from Owen, who I tell you what, John, he's found 3 attempts in the opening sector. This might not be done yet.
Yeah, let's see what Owen does through the middle sector here. M-Shep in P8 is also improving, not by a lot though. Owen is the one to watch here. As he comes to the end of the second sector, he's nearly half a second up. This could get him onto at least the 4th row of the grid. He needs to find a lot of time here. He's apparently purple in the middle sector as well. The Ferrari there on the right keeps out of the way, which is good of him. Comes to the right hander. It's so easy just to run wide at that corner. Didn't quite get the apex, but he's thrown it in quite well through there. Keeps it in the limit. Gets to the second last corner. It's so much more open now, as you said before. And then it's just this final corner, the right hander.
He was a lot tidier than Dom in the penultimate corner, and now he's just got a straight to go up to the line. Is Owen going to go pole? No! He misses out, and the Ferrari driver is on pole position. He won in race number 1. He missed race number 2, and now he's on pole position in race number 3 by just 6/100ths of a second. He claims top spot from John Menzies. And Jean, what an interesting session that was. We got a great grid, and look at that, 2 Aston Martins in the top 3.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating Grand Prix. Very close in the end. Just 200ths separating the front 2. Owen did well on that last lap. I think he found himself a second compared to his previous best, jumping from what was P9 to P5. So
John did improve. Goodness me, John improved. We missed that. Unseen by us. John went for another run. And he got very close to Dom. My goodness me. Just 200ths in the end separated it, but Dom had the pace.
Yeah, I didn't even realise that he was still on the lap. I thought he was done. He must have got to the line just in time because we saw him backed off. So he must have really snuck in at the last second, just under the radar a bit. But yeah, not quite enough to beat the Ferrari to pole.
Yep, Dom Smith then, the Ferrari driver on pole position. I'm wearing a Ferrari top tonight, but that doesn't mean that I'm supporting Dom. Then we've got John Menzies joining him on the front row. Sayer Sports, great qualifying for him up in P3. Jack Craig in 4th, good result for him in the Alfa Romeo. Mayor Quimby in 5th, just couldn't quite have enough in the end. Daniel Peelwinner, your reigning champion, P6. Sully, our race winner from last week, P7. Blair Grooves 8th, M Shep 9th, and Jacko rounds out the top 10. Just missing out Angel vs Death Stereogram. Jake Davies, who could well be the first, who is the first TGP1 champion to race in TGP2. The Welshman struggling for a little bit of pace on this game. So, Jean, just quickly, what are your sort of pointers for this race? What do the viewers need to be keeping an eye out for?
Well, obviously the tyre choice at the beginning of the race, of course. New for this year, the top 10 don't have to stay on the tyre they set their best quality time on, so they are open to pit the mediums or hards if they choose. And also, due to the rule change with no safety car, that opens up the strategy a lot more. So that's going to be fascinating to see if the medium, anyone who picks the medium keeps up with the soft tyre cars at the start. And another thing to watch out for is just how easily it can get hectic on the first lap. It's a tight right-hander at the beginning of this track, and we've seen in the past numerous times that things can go wrong.
Yep, and we got 5 lights in Melbourne, Australia, and we're underway here, and it was a good start from Dom Smith. John Menzies a little slow away, and Joe Sayer's got a good getaway, but it's Jack Craig who's looking like he's going to make a move into turn number 1. John Menzies has already dropped down to 5th, and it's further back we got Jack Craig spinning around and tumbling down the order. His grid starting position has all gone to waste, as John Menzies has now got Owen Quimby all up behind him, and we've got Alpine it was in the wall a little bit further back. John Menzies covers the inside line, but Owen isn't giving this one a easy, as another AlphaTauri runs wide further back, and John has had to concede. He's on the medium tyres, and he's had to concede 3rd place. M. Shep has picked up a 3-second penalty already further back. Daniel Peelwinner has got involved himself in a few issues, and Cena is already up to 5th. But it's a disaster for Jack Craig, who's dropped all the way to the back of the pack after a spin and a great start.
Yeah, as you said, it's just so easy to just get pinched on the inside of that first corner. And yeah, John Menzies not with the best of starts. Interestingly, the only one of the mediums out in the front runners on the grid. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. It maybe take a lap or two just to heat the tyres up and get into the swing of things. But if the top 3 start to pull away, they could find themselves in a great position. And a brilliant start from Joe to get up to 2nd. Owen as well, gained 2 spots.
Cena up 9 places. That's incredible opening lap from the Haas driver. It's really worked out very well for him, but it's worked out very well for Dom Smith, who perhaps has had his main challenger fall by the wayside early doors and is already over 2 seconds behind him. And it's Owen Quimby who's starting to put pressure on Joe Sayer. You have to say, probably a little bit out of position, but with the pace he had in qualifying, maybe this is where he's fitting into this order. A little bit further back, we've got Stereogram who's now picked up a penalty as well. Sully has come into the pits. I wonder if he was the Alpine driver that we saw in the wall further back. And we've got a good battle going on for 7th at the moment, and 8th, as we've got Stereogram all over the back of Michael Kenny with M. Shep with those 2 penalties already just behind.
Yeah, I can tell you the Alpine did have front wing damage that has been repaired, so that's not great news for Speed Sully. He has gone off mediums.
Jean, sorry to interject, we've got Owen Quimby all over the back of Sayer Sports as they head towards the end of Sector 2. Owen Quimby is up into 2nd place, and he needed to get that done very quickly. He used a lot of his battery, but he had to make sure he got that move done. As well, a yellow flag further back. I think Kaya has found the wall at the end of Sector 1, but Owen can now very clearly set his sights on Dom Smith in front and try and challenge for the race win.
Yeah, that's a crucial overtake there. It's quite brave to make the move there. We know that how that left-right chicane tends to be one line only, but Owen's made the move stick. Obviously, he used the ERS quite heftily down that straight just to get the run on him, just to get Joe into a position to yield the place and let Owen get away as he sets fastest lap as well. Cena takes that away, and just on Cena, of course, as you mentioned, he gained 9 positions. He was prone to doing that a lot last season as well. He's very, very good on opening laps. Numerous times last season he was gaining 6, 7, 8, sometimes as many as 12 or even 13 positions on the first laps. That's not too surprising from him.
Either Dom's going very careful on his tyres or something's just happened to him unseen by us, as he's just lost about 0.6 of a second in the first sector alone to Owen. He's using a bit of his battery now, probably wise. Owen in response doing some twos. DRS is now enabled, let's not forget. Dom judging in between that battery and not, but he's going to be under pressure very soon from the AlphaTauri driver, who we mentioned at the very beginning of the show. Third in the standings, and with a good result here, he could take the lead in the standings. And we know that Dom doesn't react well to pressure, and he's going to be under it straight away as we head towards the back straight. Is Owen going to try and move up the inside? No, he thinks better of it. He's going to sit behind him, maybe for a couple more corners, and try and get him either into turn 1 or turn number 3.
Yeah, I think there may have been a slight mistake from Dom in the first sector. He seemed to be about a third of a second slower, but I think it's a mixture of him making a mistake and Owen being that quick. And here we are with the DRS then. He's going to make a move. It's going to be an easy move to the lead here. He's going to get in before we even get to turn 1, already ahead. That's an easy move for the AlphaTauri driver.
Yep, nice move there from Owen Quimby. Straight over, he spun! He spun! He's round, and he's broken his front wing, and just like we saw in Saudi Arabia last week, where Mike took the lead and then spun immediately afterwards. The same's happened this week, but this time it's Owen Quimby who's on the receiving end of it, and that is a huge gift for Dom Smith, who's now one of his main rivals. Another one has fallen by the wayside.
And just, he got held up in that because Joe was all over the back of him. Second, he was within a tenth. He was nose to tail, but he's made a mistake in turn 4 and lost a second to Dom. So Dom's just been relieved of that pressure a little bit. And on top of that, John in P3 has now got a time penalty, I believe, for track limits.
I tell you what, don't count Cena out for this race win. The man who started back in, 14th, 15th, he is right where he needs to be making a challenge on this race. And I really, and with the cars in front of him there is, John's obviously running that slightly different strategy, so we need to bear that in mind. But I would say that Cena's in a very good position to take this race win.
Yeah, absolutely. As you were saying that, you almost struck the curse of the commentator immediately, because he just ran wide on the exit of the left-right chicane. He's kept it out of troubles, in touch with the two Aston Martins in front. He's been a bit sluggish in the last sector. I think that was just him.
Daniel P. was pitted, John. Daniel's in the pits. That's early.
That's an early one. But yeah, that's 11 laps on the mediums. That's going to be quite a hefty...
12 laps on the mediums.
Yeah, 12 laps, you're correct. That's going to be a hefty job on those tyres, but I'm wondering if he's thinking of getting some clear out. We've got yellow flags on the start straight, and it's Jacko, who I think's had another spin, and I think he's actually damaged the wing. I think there is wing damage to that Mercedes on the right
yes,
side.
on the right end plate, right side.
So that's a disastrous result for him. Kaya retires from the Grand Prix. He's gone off on the third sector. We used to call it a death chicane on F1 2021. I think it's still living up to its name a bit here, as he's gone off on the wall on the right side. His car's actually on the track. But anyway, back to the front. Joe.
Yeah, I think the commentator's curse has kicked into C there. He lost 5 seconds on that last lap.
Oh, he's all over the place, you know, there as well. Has
he got damage as well?
I think he's had a spin.
Owen's clipped him, and Owen's round! Oh, it's going from bad to worse for the AlphaTauri driver. He's had one spin already this race, and he's had another little half spin there. Obviously, it hasn't lost him any positions, but time-wise, he's just lost about 5 seconds. Disaster for the AlphaTauri driver. We've seen Cena come into the pits. Maybe he did have damage.
Let's have a look. He's
picked up a penalty
now. Let's have a look as he comes into the pit. It's obviously going to be medium tyres to see what they do with the front wing. No front wing change or anything like that. So maybe he's had a small spin and he's overheated the tyres. And obviously, you overheat the tyres, they are very difficult to get back under control temperature-wise.
Oh, Owen's gone again. Owen's gone again. I think he's cooked the tyres, John. He should have maybe boxed. And he's in the gravel trap. And his race is going from bad to worse.
Time to get out. Yeah, that's going to be a race ruiner for him. He's going to take a long time getting out of there. He was
in the lead a couple of laps ago, John. Let's not forget.
Yeah, and he's behind the guy he just clipped a few corners before, who pitted, and he didn't. So, he's gone off again. Yeah, the tyres have absolutely gone on the AlphaTauri. But that's how the new Cephs and Carcass model tyre model works on this game. You make one mistake, one spin, and the tyres are an absolute nightmare to get back under control. Meanwhile, battle for fourth here, Jack Craig, Angel versus Death and Mr. John. Jack Craig just making P4, and Mr. John had a look down the inside into the last few corners, decides against it, but he is going to be in a position to use the DRS especially as the car in front seems to be harvesting its ERS, a red light flashing on the back of the car. Mr. John's going to go for P5 here, which could become P4 as Joe's in the pits. Joe's going to come out right in the mix here. This is not ideal for the Aston Martin driver. Can he come out ahead?
Oh, it's contact! John, big loser there. Joe Sayre's been caught and Joe Sayre's been swamped and he's lost 3 places in all of that. Mr. John has made that place back up. Angel versus Def have backed out of all of that. Oh, then he sent it up the inside of Joe. I thought that was going to be contact there, but somehow the two of them got away with it. Jake Davies is up in the mix too. But what I was about to say just before you came in there, John, was the top 3 had checked out at the front. The 3 of them far quicker than anybody else. Had about a 15, 16 second gap to now it's third place, 4th place at the time. But this is really not helping Joe.
No, it's absolutely not helping Joe. What's also not going to help Dom is he's just made a mistake, and that's allowed John Menzies to close back into DRS range. Obviously, John Menzies has a 3-second time penalty. But
surely we're going to see Dom pit this lap, aren't we? Surely we're going to see him pit.
Yep.
There we go.
He pulls in. Of course, John's got to go longer here with the overcut because he's on the mediums, and he can change to the soft tyres, so he could be one to watch out for at the end of the race.
Yeah, Joe Sayre is obviously the one to watch then in relation to Dom Smith. That's who they are battling. The Ferrari mechanics get to work. It's a good stop for them. He released their man back into the pit lane, just 50 miles an hour, trundling down the pit lane. Meanwhile, Joe Sayre isn't even round the last corner yet. And as Dom Smith gets her off the pit lane limiter and back onto the racetrack, he's well ahead of this little gaggle of cars, but he is going to have cold tyres. And is he... Did he cross the line?
Nope, I think he's okay. No penalty warning or penalty seems to have come up, so I think he's okay on that.
Okay, he was very much on the racing line when I cut to him, but there we go. Dom Smith, lucky as ever, getting away with these things. But Joe Sayre is now putting all kinds of pressure on the back of Mr. John, and he needs to clear these cars quickly if he's going to have any chance of winning this race. He gets past John, that's one done. Now he needs to focus his attentions on Jake in front of him, otherwise this chance of a race win is going to disappear just as quickly as Owen did down the escape road.
Yeah, the pit stop really has cost Joe because he was right with Dom within a second. He's now 3.5 seconds down. Coming out into the traffic has really compromised his race win attempts. He might not even get second here. I think John Menzies will get the jump on him as he was only a second off the Ferrari when Dom pitted. So he probably will come out in that gap between Dom and him and Joe. John stays up for another lap though. He's done a 1:22.6.
He made a little mistake at the penultimate corner. Did John, so he lost a little bit of time there. Daniel Pierre-Wilnart is now the next person to be putting pressure on Mr. John. Coming onto the main straight, DRS wide open. John without any DRS and lower battery. Daniel's going to send one to the inside and he gets it stopped and gets through up into 5th place, which is net P4 once Jake has pitted. And meanwhile, Joe has got past Jake, who I wonder if he had a little mistake or something there because that seemed very easy.
Yeah, I think he was over on the side of the track, so I think he may have had a little mini half spin and managed to save the car. Daniel Pierre-Wilnart, of course, pitted very early, but he's closing back in on Joe. He could have a shout at the podium at the end here. I'll tell you as well, John last lap was a second quicker than Joe.
Oh, Owen's in the wall. He's just spun. Owen's out. Owen. Yeah. Disappointing for him.
Yeah, didn't go the way he would have liked. Looking so good early on, made the mistake, and then it just kept happening. The tyres were gone. He struggled to keep them under control after that point, and then the spins just kept happening. And it's so easy to do. You make one error like that. One innocent little error, you may not even realise you made a mistake. Go for a spin, tyres are fried, and then it's just near impossible to keep them under control after that.
Yeah, well, John Menzies doing what he has to do out the front. I have to say that gap between him and Dom is stabilising. You know, it's not getting any bigger. Dom has just taken half a second off him in the last couple of corners. Now I say that, but it's around that high 17, low 18 second mark. Is John Menzies doing enough to win this race? We'll find out in just 5.5 laps time. That's all we've got left of this race around Albert Park, which just seems to have flown by. We've had so much going on, mainly involving Owen Quimby, but it's gone by very, very quickly. We're now focusing on Daniel Pierre-Wilnart. Meanwhile, we've got Stereogram and Mr. Johns. They were coming out of the pits. Jack Craig has picked up a penalty. Not very ideal for him. Obviously had that spin at turn number 1, lap number 1, which cost him a good opportunity of a good race. Meanwhile, John Menzies still keeping that gap where he needs to in the high 17s mark in his battle with Dom Smith for this win. Are we going to see John Menzies peel off into the pits this time round? As he rounds the penultimate corner, are we going to see the Aston Martin driver peel left, right even? Yep, he's gone right. This is it. Dom needs to get the hammer down now.
And it's interesting to point out on this lap, the top three all identical through the second sector, all hit that second sector mark at 47.0, so he wasn't losing time to the cars behind, and now he's on the soft tyres as well. They're going to be quicker to heat up, they're going to be faster.
Oh, he said this is going to be so close, Sean. This is going to be incredibly close. John now exiting the pit lane. Where is Dom Smith? Dom Smith is coming down the main straight, and as they go into turn number 1, it's the Aston Martin who has the lead. But Dom has got the momentum. He's got the heat in his tyres, and he's got the inside line as they head towards turn number 3. How risky is Dom going to go? He's later on the brakes, and as they dance up the inside, John tries to hang on to it. They make contact, but Dom is back into the lead of the race.
That was ballsy from Dom Smith there, sending it down the inside of the Aston for the lead of the race. The Aston, though, is on the fresh, soft tyres. They're going to heat up very quickly. They're faster than the mediums, and he's already in the DRS zone of that Ferrari. It's going to be a difficult job for Dom to hold off the Aston, but he's going to give it everything he's got.
Worth pointing out as well that John obviously has that penalty, but does have quite considerably more battery in his tank, John.
Yes, indeed, the 3 seconds, that's going to be very important, because if he gets through, he's got to build that gap, of course. Maybe he's on the right strategy to do so. Maybe it was the right call to start the mediums and go to the softs, but he's got to make the move quickly. Yep,
Jean then tucked up nicely behind Dom Smith, and as they come towards the start-finish straight, he is going to have DRS. I imagine Dom isn't going to fight this one too much because he knows that Jean has got to get past him, and then with just 4 laps to go, has got to get a 3-second advantage. As Jean said, he's perhaps on the right strategy to do so. Dom is using a little bit of his errs. Jean not using DRS until the end of the straight. He's playing this tactically. He wants to pass him at turn 3.
Yeah, that's a logical decision, just to put yourself in a position to get as much advantage as possible and make the move, but he doesn't make the move. I think Dom's used his ERS quite smartly there. ERS is a lot stronger on this game compared to the previous game, and the DRS is not quite as effective with these new cars, and Dom just do it enough just to hold on for the time being. And that means
that high-nose Aston Martin is right in the wings of Dom Smith, but at the moment not able to make a pounce. And the longer this goes on for, the less chance John Menzies has of pulling out that vital 3-second gap he needs, unless Dom Smith falls foul to a penalty as well, and will get Jean on the task of having a look how many warnings Dom has. But Jean's now the one who's pushing it to the limit. He's the one who's run wide, and it seems like pressure is on him.
Yeah, but I can tell you as well, 1 warning so far for Dom, so he's got 2 strikes still before he gets a penalty.
Yeah, so coming through the last couple of corners then, is Jean going to attack this one differently this lap around? He saw that last lap Dom was very good going down to turn number 3. Is he going to try and move this time round into turn number 1? The DRS is wide open. Dom Smith using his errs. He's only got 25% battery left. Jean using none of it, just trying to position his car where he needs to. Maybe this time round into turn number 3 he'll have a better opportunity. He takes a lot of curb into turn number 1. How's that put him offline? Dom Smith is covering the inside line. Jean Menzies wants the inside line. He's going to have to go the long way around. He's later on the brakes. He's too late on the brakes, is he? He just about keeps it on. But Dom Smith, for the time being at least, continues to hang on.
That was perfect defensive driving by Dom there. He's put the car in the right position. He's given enough room to the car behind to try and go on the outside. Sort of invited him to the outside. John's tried to go for it, gone wide, but now he's got the run. He's using the ERS down this curved long straight. He's going to be side by side coming into the chicane. It's not even going to be that side by side. The Aston is ahead, but he's only got 2.5 laps to make 3 seconds on that Ferrari.
Yep. It's now all or nothing for John. He's using that battery, and Dom Smith behind has got DRS, but without that tyre advantage and without the errs that John Menzies has got, he can't do it. John needs to get his head down now and get an extra 2.5 seconds on the gap he's already got, and in 2 laps, that is no mean feat.
That's true, but he is on the fresher softs. He's a little bit wide coming into that last corner. It's almost like he caught the grass on the outside. So he didn't have the optimal run onto the main straight. Dom obviously going to have DRS. That's going to allow him to close back in. If Dom just stays within that second, obviously John won't be able to win the race from there, but Dom's just doing enough at the moment in the Ferrari just to stay in the DRS, which is going to be a massive benefit. If he can stay there, that's a win in the bag as long as he keeps it out of trouble. But here you could see the difference between the softs on the Aston and the mediums on the Ferrari. The time that John is gaining on Dom in the Aston is pretty big. He's almost broken the second already, but down the straight, that Ferrari quicker, so he must be using less downforce than the leader, and that is crucial because now he's going to get the DRS again. He just stays within the second, so this is looking good for the Ferrari.
Yep, it's looking very good for Dom at the moment. Just over a lap to go. He is going to win the race, despite not leading on the road. That 3-second penalty for John Menzies that he picked up quite early on in the race could end up costing him here for another race win. Could this be the third race this season that he'll go out winless, despite arguably being probably the quickest car on the track? But again, through the final corner running wide, and with just a lap to go, it's Dom Smith that's in prime position to take the race win around Australia and close the gap in the ultimate TGP2 winners list. Those are the numbers. He will be just one behind.
Yes, indeed. He's done a very good job of sticking with the car in front, and again, just doing enough to stay in that 3-second window. Again, these few corners here, the Aston's quicker. You can even hear Dom lifting through turn number 5. He actually lifts just to keep the car within the lines. He's not overdriving the car, he's just doing enough to keep it tidy, keep it steady, keep it out of trouble. He's out of the DRS window now, but it's not going to matter as long as he doesn't lose 2 seconds in the last sector of the race.
Yep, so Dom versus John. John's gone wide, and that's going to close the gap up even more, surely. Dom has got this one in the bag now, you would have to have said. And with just a handful of corners to go, he might not be running on the road, but he's going to be winning on the timing pages, thanks to a 3-second penalty that John Menzies picked up earlier in the race. And as they come round the third to last corner, as they approach the penultimate corner, I can't speak, I've been that excited this race. John Menzies running wide again, but he did a very good race. He drove very well. But ultimately, it wasn't enough to deny Dom Smith a race. Has he run out of fuel? Has he run?
No, I think he just took it so easy just to make sure he didn't make a spin out the last corner. Maybe he had a tank stopper, but he saved the car. He's won the race.
Oh, my goodness me. Talk about leaving it, cutting it fine. Dom Smith, in the end, most of that lap, he was just a second behind. In the end, he won by only 8 tenths. But he is your race winner. The Ferrari driver, Dom Smith. Maybe I need to get rid of this Ferrari top after all, as he wins around Australia. His second win of the season, his second win in 3 races. And it puts him in a very good position to take the title challenge. And could he end up with yet another TGP2 title? John Menzies has come home in second. Joe Sayer has held on to third. Great result for the Aston Martin team, a second and a third place. Daniel P. Wheelnut came home in 4th. Cena was 5th. Sully, our winner from Saudi Arabia even last week, was 6th. Just to John, a good 7th place for him. Jack Craig will be disappointed with 8th. Angel versus Death in 9th. Jake Davies will be... No, Blegros will be 10th. Jake Davies 11th. Stereogram 12th. And Jacko will be 13th.
Yeah, M. Shep just got himself disqualified on the last lap of the race in the left-right chicane at the start of Sector 3. So 14th place and the final point will go to Owen, despite not finishing the race, as, of course, DSQs put you below the DNFs.
Well, disappointing then for Alfa Romeo. One of their drivers disqualified, one of them spinning at the first corner, and their other main driver in the commentary box. So there we go, a fantastic race around Albert Park. You've been put onto a great show, we have to say. And Cena, your driver of the day, very well deserved, coming from the very back of the grid to finish in P5. Was it 5th? Was it 5th? Yeah, it was 5th. Yeah, it was 5th. Well then, he's got a bit of swagger in his step as Dom Smith, and so he should do. And he's got the wheel in his hand. That's good stuff. He's now receiving the first place trophy. Dom Smith, your race winner. Yet another win to add to his large tally. And the Ferrari mechanics, look at them, absolutely jubilant. They are loving life down there. And the champagne is sprayed, and which is also sponsored by Ferrari. Read into that what you will. And the 2 Aston Martin drivers sharing the celebrations on the podium. Most of the fans have gone home. Not really a surprise. No one really wants to see the league owner win a race. Let's give you a rundown of the results in the end. Dom Smith, your race winner for Ferrari. John Menzies, from pole position, John Menzies in second place, having started second, and Joe Sayer third, having started third. But that doesn't give a very accurate representation of what happened. Daniel Piona is P4, with Cena, excellent P5 from 14th on the grid. Speed Sully in 6th place, Mr. John in 7th, Jack Craig P8, Angel versus Death P9, and Blair Grills rounding out the top 10. Jake Davies picked up 11th place and some points on his return to TGP2. Stereogram in 12th, and his fellow Mercedes driver Jacko 13th. And Mayor Quimby, as we said, might have retired but did pick up a point thanks to M. Shep's disqualification, and Kaya, your other non-classified runner. So John, few takeaways from the race there. Obviously, very good display from Aston Martin. They've picked up a lot of points for the constructors' standings here, but do you think at any point John quite had the pace to win, or was Dom in control that whole time?
I think John had the pace. He definitely had the pace. Of course, he finished in front, and the crossover period between Joe and Dom pitting for the mediums and John coming in for the softs, he was matching the cars on older tyres. So he had the pace, but it's just the errors early on with the warnings. It got him the penalty, it put him on the back foot, and Dom did enough before the end of the race where he came out ahead of the Aston. The Aston tried to overtake. Dom positioned the car very well defensively, made John have to go the long way round, which didn't quite work. Dom had enough grip to just keep ahead, and by the time John made the move, he was just out of time to gain the 3 seconds he needed to win. So the pace was there for John, but Dom drove perfectly in a defensive way to just sort of stop John making the advantage he needed to get the win.
Well, really good stuff there from all the drivers. Another great race, and obviously within that we saw a few spins as we anticipated, and as you talked about obviously in the qualifying session, how these cars are a little bit more difficult to drive. So just tell us a little bit how the carcassing causes a problem for drivers once they've spun already. Why did we see Owen having so many spins after he spun for the first time?
So obviously in previous seasons we used the surface only tyre model, so it only would monitor the outside tyre temperature, but with the surface and carcass, the carcass of the tyre itself is simulated for temperatures and stuff, and when you do spin the car around, the rear tyres, or even all four tyres, the spinning and the difference from how it normally would go would make the tyres just overheat a bit. And with the carcass, it means where it's overheated, the grip doesn't reach the ground, the tyres don't grip up to the surface as it used to. Where it was in colder temperatures, it's outside the tyre's operating window, so it slips a lot more, so it's a lot more slippery. Drivers have to use a lot more control on the throttle, and basically with the excessive temperatures, you try and take it like you would have in the past on surface only, the tyres would just give up on you and you go spinning again almost immediately. So it's a lot more challenging for the drivers. It is more realistic, but it can catch people out very easily if they're not careful.
Well, there we go. So we've got a trickier sort of tyre carcass that they're working there for with, and that sort of moment then when they do heat up the tyres quite early on, causing problems. So that's got to be wary, and especially in cars that are more difficult to spin. Jean, does that mean that over the course of this season we should expect to see more drivers spinning and losing, or will we see drivers perhaps trying to be a little bit more cautious to avoid the spinning?
I think early on you will see a bit more spins than usual. Across the season, the drivers get more used to the game, put more time into it. That will become less frequent. It will still happen on occasion because it's just nature of the beast. People push, they sometimes over push, it goes a bit wrong, you make the mistake. But I think across the season it will become less frequent as guys get on top of things.
Well, here we are in Italy. This is Imola, the Autodromo Dino Ferrari something or other. We've got cars out on track. Kaya was the first car to leave the pits, the Alpine driver. and he's followed by a gaggle of cars there behind. We've got some fantastic sunny conditions. It's absolutely beautiful weather in Italy today for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, formerly known, of course, as the San Marino Grand Prix, in Bernie Eccles-Dom's heyday. We used to call it that, but these days referred to the slightly longer name that we have today. So, Sean, give us some pointers. Who do we think we need to be watching out for, potentially for a pole position round the Imola circuit?
Well, of course, Dom, previous race winner, and John as well, who was second, leader on the road. These two are obviously two of the quickest. I would say keep an eye on Owen. He'll be eager to prove a point after Australia. Turned from what looked like a dream to a nightmare, spinning out of the lead and then just struggling to stay on the road after that. Jack Craig had a point to prove after going off at the start. Joe would like to, I don't think Joe will go for pole, but Joe would like to be out there and get himself a second podium of the night. And keep an eye on Daniel Pilwilmer, the reigning champ. He was there or thereabouts, a little bit off the pace of Australia, but he was still a respectable P4, but he will be looking for more. As the reigning champ, he would like to get his title defence back on track after a difficult first few races. Hasn't really been in line for a victory at any point, but he will come into things as the season goes on, and I think we'll see him right up the sharp end soon enough.
Yeah, well, we're on board then with John Menzies, one of Jonas's people to watch out for a pole position in this round 4 of season 32 DGB2 season. So, John, just over half the lap gone. Talk us through the remaining lap. Actually, don't, because he's just invalidated. Let's find someone who can keep it in the white lines. Dom Smith has just started the lap, one of your other people for pole position. Talk us through an onboard lap with the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, so we are at Tamburello chicane, not as flat out as it used to be for obvious reasons, but Dom takes it quite tidily. We come up towards, I'm not going to get all the names right, we're coming up to the left-hander here. It's pretty quick, left to right. It's very easy to run wide on the exit there and invalidate the lap. It's quite strict there. We've got this uphill left-hander, very easy to spin in mid-corner, and it's quite tricky on the exit as well as you make our way uphill. This next one starts to go downhill, easy to just run with the wheels over the limits there and get another invalidation. We come to this double right-hander. This is a nice, fun little corner, but it tightens up on the exit. We start to run wide there. Dom keeps it in nicely. And then the chicane. Very easy to gain a lot of time here. Very easy to invalidate. Throws it on the right. You can ride the curves a little bit, but not too much. And that's nice and tidy from the Ferrari driver. To come downhill towards the double left-hander that ends the lap. The right-hander, that's not really a turn at all. You just hit the left. You just want to get the apexes. Straighten the car up. On the power. Through the DRS, which is here, and then to the line, and it's a 1:17.6 pole by 4/10 so far, but of course other drivers are going to start setting their lap times. But that was a very nice tidy lap from I believe our championship leader at the moment.
Yep, so the Ferrari driver, Ferrari's circuit closest to their home, so he'll be very eager to please the Tifosi round here. Owen Quemby, let's watch him on a lap as he's coming through the second sector now, dropping down the hill towards the double right-hander. Very tricky second turn here. He's got to keep it nice and tidy, which he does. The AlphaTauri driver, obviously, this is also AlphaTauri's, in theory, home Grand Prix, and he is purple coming through the middle sector. Nice and tidy through the chicane, taking a lot of pace there, you have to say, and as he drops down the hill through the sort of S section before he comes to the double left-hander to end the lap. And are we going to see the AlphaTauri claim provisional pole? Runs it nicely through the penultimate corner, round the final corner, keeps it well within the lines, and as he gears up, DRS open, towards the line he comes, and it is provisional pole position by 0.04 of a second.
So already looking very close at the sharp end again here in TGB2, and it's just what you like to see really. You don't want to see someone just constantly like a second a lap ahead of everyone. But
meanwhile, someone has just gone almost a second a lap quicker than anybody else. Jake Davies, also known as Jake Dennis to some people, has just gone provisional pole in the Williams by 0.9 of a second. Daniel P. Wilnut, meanwhile, has just gone purple in Sector 1, but he's got some Haas traffic right in front of him, which he's going to hope is going to get out of the way very soon, but neither of them seems to be obliging.
Yeah, it's more akin to Haas in 2021, isn't it? Being at the back in everyone's way. But that is a storming lap from Jake Davies there. He struggled in his first race in TGP2, I think ever, but if not ever, then for a long while, as Daniel Pilwellnut backs off as the two Haas just refused to move. I believe it was Angel versus Death. That was the one directly in front. But yeah, that's a very impressive lap from the Williams. That could be difficult to top, and instantly proved me wrong, didn't it?
Well, yeah, Mayor Quimby coming to the pits. Tom Smith in the pits. M. Shep on an out lap at the moment. We've only got 8 of the 16 drivers who have set a registered lap time. So we'll see what some of the big hitters who have still yet to set a lap time have got up their sleeve. Those being John Menzies, Sayre Sports, you've got to say, and probably Jack Craig as well. Showed what pace he has in Albert Park. And Jack Craig, the Alfa Romeo driver, the other Italian team on the grid, rounding the final corner, just about to start a lap now. So, on board then with the Scotsman, as he's making a return to TGP2 tonight, as he heads towards the Tamburello chicane. Late on the brakes just before the 50-metre mark, take as much curb as he dare. Car got a little bit unsettled around turns number 2, you had to say, and onto this little straight now as he heads towards what I think is Villeneuve. I'm going to call it Villeneuve nonetheless. He's run a little bit wide in the second part, just about keeps his lap, and he is purple in sector 1 apparently. So unless Jake Davies had a shocker of a sector 1, and Jack Craig's found some time that we didn't know. As he heads up the hill now towards this quick left-hander. This is the hardest corner to keep it in the white line. Cena goes P2 and a 17.4. Down to the double right-hander now. Takes a lot of curb on that first corner. He runs a little bit wide, the understeer kicking in, but he then gets on the power. Rises up the hill. We're going to get his second split time very shortly, and he's apparently still purple. I'm struggling to believe that, to be quite honest with you, but we'll find out in just a few corners' time.
He's 6 tenths down the middle sector of Jake from the timing screens from what I'm looking at, so he's going to be looking at around Owen Dom territory at the moment. Cena was doing very well in the first 2 sectors, but Jake just seemed to find about 3 or 4 tenths in the last sector alone, as Jack Craig only goes P8 with that lap, so that was nowhere near where we thought he might end up.
John Menzies backed out of his lap time as well. He invalidated, so that's the second lap he's had invalidate.
Joe Sayre about to start a lap here in the second Aston Martin in P15 gets to the time. Let's see what the Aston Martin driver can do.
So 7 temperature gap at the moment between the top 2, the Williams of Jake Davies. If I remember rightly, did he go very well around here in TGP1 last season? Was this one race he did very well at? Speed Sully's just gone up to P3 for the Alpine.
I'm trying to think, because I was in the race. I think it was Wet Lemons that was very good there last season. He was battling for he finished in a podium position, but at the time penalty that demoted him down to about 6th. But that was a bit of a mixed condition race, which can happen at Imola. It happened yesterday in TGP1. That's an interesting thing to point out. Is there a chance of weather affecting the Grand Prix? I haven't seen any info to suggest that's the case, but Joe on a lap here, I think he's one of the only guys on a flying lap at this moment in time anyway. Actually, that said, Dom is just up the road, and he's coming towards the last 2 corners now. So let's see what the Ferrari driver can do. Obviously, Ferrari's home race. Really throwed it into the last couple of corners. Can he improve on a 17.6, currently P5? He goes P3, only a 10th improvement, but it just shows how close that group of cars is just behind Jake, as Joe has gone P9, so the pace not quite there for him as it was in Australia.
Mayor Quimby on a lap at the moment, just coming through the double right-hander at the end of the second sector. We'll get a second split time just a couple of moments. And
3 temps up. Yeah, he could be on for P2 here if he keeps that to the line.
Well, he's just got a couple more corners to go. Arguably, the 2 that you could either gain or lose the most time. Jake Davies certainly found that out, and as he comes into the braking zone now, needs to keep it nice and tidy. Doesn't use very much of the curb. Maybe that's where Jake made his advantage up. We've got a spinning Mercedes in front of us. I think that was Jacko. And as he comes to the line now, Owen goes second. A 17.0. There we go. That's a bit more like it. That's a bit more competitive from the AlphaTauri driver.
Yeah, it seems everyone's just starting to get their iron a bit better now, and the lap times are starting to come down. I think Jake was on the second run, but he's invalidating and backed off. He might be about to go for another push lap because his ERS is fully charged, and he's coming around the last corner. He does stay out, and he's got the ERS running now, so it's a new lap for the pole man. He's going for it, as I think most of the other guys in the field are just on their in laps now. So. We've got John Menzies about to start a lap at the back of the field at the moment. The Jake on the lap going through Tamburello up towards Villeneuve. I believe you were correct in calling it Villeneuve. And
excellent news. I think the next one's called Toaster as well, isn't it?
I believe that's correct, yes.
Excellent. We've got at least
Jake
3 corners.
He's 3.5 tenths up in centre, what a load. So he's really putting the gauntlet down for the others as he makes his way for the second sector. Let's see how he does through here. He's right to the limit. He's really pushing with all he's got. It's very impressive. He's run wide there though, and that's the lap gone. That's a shame because I think he was really about to lay a marker down for the rest of the field. I think that could have been the lap that could have sealed pole position for him, but he'll have to back it off. He'll be making his way back to the pits then to get a new set of tyres on and get back out there for a final run. As others are coming in now. Owen's in the pit. Cena, yep.
Yeah, so he's coming down to Villeneuve. And Jake, I just couldn't believe how tidy Jake was. You know, right up until that, he was right on the limit, right on the white lines. Expert car control, you have to say. But we're now watching the Haas driver of Cena, as we said, currently just over 7 tenths off of the provisional pole time set by Jake Davies. But as we know, as we saw, there is time still in the bank there for the Williams driver. The Haas driver then into the double right-hander. This is where Jake's lap went away from him, but nice and tidy there for the Haas man. And as he comes towards the chicane at the moment, it's a 51.2, and he's 3 tenths up on his personal best. So are we going to see an improvement then from the Haas driver? Just a few corners to go, and as he's herring down the hill now, he's foot flat to the floor. Got to get his braking zone right. He's got to use as much curb as he dares without invalidating the lap. That was a bit better. Through the final corner then, hits the power. Are we going to see an improvement then from the Haas driver? DRS wide open as he comes to the line. He's in the 116s. Only the second man to do that, and he displaces Mayor Quimby from the front row.
That's a good lap from Cena there. Onto the front row. Cena doesn't always start from the front. Well, he seems to be sort of mired in the midfield in early qualifying sessions, and then just charges through on the start of the race. So if he gets a sort of start he got in Australia here from the front row, he could be storming away the lead at the start of the race.
Yep, Daniel Pilwona on a lap at the moment, our reigning TGP2 champion. As he heads through the middle sector, he's gone wide though. It's going to lose him a bit of time. He was about half a second up on his personal best in the first sector, and you can tell he's lost a couple of attempts there. Through the chicane now, takes as much curve as he dares. Nice, keeps it nice and tidy though, and that will count for something. Jake Davies has just left the pit, so we'll keep an eye on him. Jack Craig, I think, is on a lap as well at the moment, a little bit further back, so we'll keep an eye on how he's getting on. But let's just keep an eye on Daniel P. Wilnut at the moment. Reigning TGP2 champion, hasn't had the start of the season that he perhaps would have wanted or expected. And as he heads towards the line, is this going to be an improvement? It is. It's up to P4. Good lap from him.
Yeah, Jack Craig, I can tell you, he's off the pace on this lap. He's almost a second down than his current best, so that's
Dom Smith just started the lap though, John.
Yep, he's going through towards the end of sector 1 now. Let's have a look at his split time as he gets to the sector 1 line. He's almost 2 tenths up, supposedly in purple first sector, so this could be a lap to keep an eye on here.
We'll keep an eye on where Jake is on the track as well at the moment. He's just come to the chicane on his outlap, so we'll cut to him afterwards. We got John Menzies still in the pits. Sayre Sports is on a lap as well, just ahead of us. But Dom Smith then is who we're keeping an eye on. The Ferrari driver, 2-time winner already so far this season. And through the middle sector, he's finding 4 tenths of a second. But at the moment, that would only be good enough for around the front row. Through the chicane he comes. He keeps it tidy and well within the right lines. And as he heads down towards now the double left-hander to finish this lap, He got to nail his braking spot, which he does. Get a curve on the inside. He runs it out wide as he dares. Round the final corner then. Are we going to see an improvement from Dom Smith? Is he going to improve on his 6th place position? He takes out the bollard and he takes out Mayor Quimby from 3rd place. And he moves up into 3rd and only just missing out on a 1 minute 16. And someone who doesn't miss out on a 1 minute 16 is Speed Sully. Jake Davies, meanwhile, has had a spin. He might not have chance to improve.
As he got damage, it doesn't look like it, but how long's left of the clock? He's got 2 minutes, so he might just be able to save the battery up, just cool the tyres down and get back to the line and go again. He might just make it for one more shot.
And Jacko's had a spin. Again, at the penultimate corner. I think that's the 2nd time this session he's done that.
Yeah, same corner. He's had a shocking start to the season. It's really not come together.
Black Rose has had a spin as well.
Oh.
Everyone I'm cutting to is having a spin. Joe Sayer hasn't managed to yet. That's a good sign for him. And he's finding time. He's found 4 tenths in the middle sector here, John. So this could be a good improvement for Joe. I guess for him, he sort of wants to be top 8. That will be where I'm guessing he's probably aiming for.
Yeah, I noticed in the second part of that chicane there, he's not as committed as some of the others there. He's given a bit of leniency to the track limits, but he dives into the pits, which is a strange one, because there's no tyre rule like there was in the past. So I think he's figured if I'm P11 I could start on mediums, but if he did the lap and got to 7th or 8th he could still start the mediums, so that might have been a bad judgment call there because he was 4 tenths up.
Yeah, and here we go then. Jake Davies on a lap heading towards turn number 1. At the moment he has pole position in his hands by just over 2 tenths of a second, but as we've already seen, there's some more time in this beast. And as he heads towards the Villeneuve chicane, are we going to see another purple sector 1? He's so neat and tidy, although he takes a lot of curb on the inside there, unsettles the rear ever so slightly, and he's slightly down in his personal best, so that's those 3 tenths that he found on the first sector on the lap where he invalidated. Maybe he can't find those again.
And I've just seen John Menzies invalidate at the chicane at the start of sector 3.
He's going to be last.
He's got to get to the line. He's got about 10 seconds. He might just make it, but he's got very little ERS left. He's going to struggle to be near the sharp end of that.
Jake Davies then towards the end of the second sector. He's not finding any more time. Cena has started a lap as well now. And here he goes, up through the gears, heading down the hill. He's got a car in front of him, but that should be out of the way just about enough. It's an AlphaTauri, and it's not Mayor Quimby. Mayor Quimby is on the lap, and he's further back. Into the penultimate corner then. Takes as much curb as he can on the exit. I've just spilt the coat hangers in the room, heads to the background interference, but as he comes towards the line, Jake Davies, is he going to improve on his 16.7? No. By 1,000th of a second, he does not improve. Dom Smith is on the lap as well, though, just behind this. Dom Smith to the line. Are we going to see an improvement?
Cena improving. Dom is 3 tenths up. This could be a good lap here.
It's so close.
And Cena is purple in sector 2 as well.
Here we go then. Cena, just with a couple of corners to go. Dom Smith missing out on pole position by 0.5 tenth. Jay Davies' first lap was good enough for pole at the moment. Cena is purple through the middle sector. He's giving it all he can. The Haas driver on for his second pole position of the year because he did take pole in Saudi Arabia. Up to the line he goes, and he's done it again. Right to the death. The Haas driver has taken pole position. But John Menzies is the only man now who can stop him. And with just a couple of corners to go, I don't think he's got enough in his locker. Without ERS, he's really struggling. He might not even make a time that's good enough to be placed. He ever so slightly is, but Cena, right at the death, has snatched pole away from Jake Davies, who looked like the whole session that he'd blown the field away, but instead, the man with a catcher in the sky was Cena, and now he has his second pole of the season.
That was a stunning final lap from Cena. He just put it all on the line there, nailed the lap, got the pole, and you just wonder that second lap from Jake where he was 3-4 tenths up on his what ultimately proved to be his best before he invalidated. He could have definitely had pole position there, but Cena reaps the benefits of that, steals the pole at the death. Dom almost stole it himself first. So great session from those three. Speed Sully doing a very good job for P4, already a race winner in TGP2. We've got Owen in 5th, Jack Craig in 6th ahead of the reigning champ Daniel P1 up. Blake Willis takes 8th ahead of M Shep. Jack rounds up the top 10 ahead of Joe, John and Michael Kenny.
Well, that is excellent. Absolutely brilliant. And I really don't quite know how Jake didn't do it. I really don't know. It's a shame, really, because I think that lap could have been pretty special that we were witnessing on his second run. But he didn't keep it between the white lines. And as Dom Smith always says, you don't want the time, don't do the crime. And as we gear up then for the race, John, give us a quick pointers. What should we be looking out for in this race?
Again, tyre strategy, and of course the start, obviously, with the tyre. Hang on, I'm losing my train of thought there. With how the starts have been for a few of the drivers, it's very easy for someone to have a very bad start, and it's a lot grayer. Maybe that's one of our points. What will the weather do?
What will the weather do? Well, we haven't heard anything. Our cow in the field hasn't noticed any light rainfall yet. And the radar doesn't show any either. So we'll see how that develops. Maybe we'll be treated to some glorious Italian sunshine. But meanwhile, the drivers are finishing off their comfort breaks, having their last-minute energy snack, and are getting suited and booted. So we've got 16 cars on the grid. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And we're underway in Imola, and it's a good start from Cena. It's a good start for Jake Davis as well. But Dom Smith is the one on the attack straight away, alongside the Williams driver. And as they head down to turn number 1, it's Dom Smith who's got the upper hand. And is he going to be challenging into P1 into turn 1? There's a bit of contact. It almost pushes Dom into the back of the Haas driver. But for the meantime, it's Cena who's held the lead with Jake, putting all kinds of pressure on Dom. But he got a bit squirrely, and that's meant that Sully has got round the outside. And as they headed towards the Villeneuve chicane, Jake could fall even further behind Owen, who's on. And it's Jake Davies on the medium tyres, and he's really struggling in these opening exchanges. He's having to go attacking on Owen. There's a bit of contact made, and as they head up the hill, they've lost a lot of time, and now they've got a whole gaggle of cars behind them challenging as they head up the hill. But Owen has now claimed 4th place, and the cars finally settle down into some sort of order. I say that, but Jack Craig and Blair Groves are still side by side. We've got an Alfa Romeo off in the background there as well, but he manages to keep it facing the right way. Daniel P. Wilnot's now wide. He's down in 8th, but meanwhile it's Cena still out in front. Dom Smith second, but now being put under pressure from Sully.
Yeah, that's a very interesting call from Jake to go on the mediums. And as we said, it's interesting what the tyre pits are and how it affects the early part of the race, because Jake, good off the line, but Dom had a better start on the softs, got alongside it, put Jake in a position where he was sort of on the outside, hung out to dry, and others just made the move on him, and he's struggling with the grip, but he is getting a bit of a run on Owen now for P4.
Yep, Cena already extending his gap to 1.3 seconds. Sully looking like he's going to make a move on Dom Smith. Round the outside into the Tamburello chicane. Jay Davies round the outside of Owen, and there's contact. And the two of them are ended up on a collision course, and it's Jake who's in the gravel. He'll keep it from bogging down, but Owen there tried to keep his nose in. Daniel P. Wilder, meanwhile, is retired. And it's all going off. Have we got a safety car or a virtual safety car? I'm not too sure. But we've lost Daniel Pierwerda and Stereogram in a very short space of time. Jake Davies was spinning the wrong way round. Owen is down to 7th place. And my goodness me, that was all a bit of carnage for a few moments.
Yeah, it looks like we might have a VSC, possibly. Or have we? I don't know, because Cena's just charging off ahead here. But now he's back in off. I think we have a VSC here.
I think we have got a VSC.
Yeah, VSC confirmed. It's a VSC. So the rule for TGP2 is street circuits do not have safety cars, but proper circuits such as Imola will have safety cars set to reduced. And that's what we're seeing here with an early VSC for the incident with Daniel Bill, and that Stereogram also out the race, retiring the pits on the end of the opening lap.
So we missed what happened to Daniel Pierre there, but we saw what happened between Owen and Jake. John, make your sort of early call on what you saw there.
Oh, as Jake gets a drive-through for speeding under the VSC, so a disaster for the Williams driver. It just looked like Owen went round the outside. I can't fully remember it, but I think it looked like Owen was trying to get around the outside and it just sort of met in the middle a bit. Probably
it was Jake around the outside, Owen on the inside, and
okay.
I think it was the immovable object and the unstoppable force, and it was only going to end one way in the end, unfortunately. Meanwhile, M. Shep has been swamped at the start of the restart under the VSC, of course. Blair Groves has got ahead, and now he's got Owen Quimby on his tail as well. Jake did come into the pits. I think that was to actually make a pit stop as opposed to serving his penalty. I will confirm that to you.
I
no, he did stay on the same tyres. I think
That
it was
is
a drive-through.
a drive-through. That was a drive-through, yeah. Cena made a bit of a jump at the restart. He's out of DRS, so the cars, so the cars behind can't use it. But we've got a bit of a breakaway of 4, and I think the incident early on kind of helped with that. Owen lost a couple of positions after that contact as well. Blair
Yeah, he's all over the back of M-Shep now, though, John. I mean, they're going to have DRS, obviously, this lap as they head onto the main straight, and you would have thought, I mean, Shep will also get DRS, of course, on Blair Grills.
And Blair Grills almost dropped out at the last corner, so he's going to be very slow down the straight. He is using his DRS.
Jack's just massively closed in on Dom as well. I don't know what happened to there, but Jack's all over the back of Dom as well. Meanwhile, M-Shep all over the back of Blair Grills, heading towards turn number 1. He's going to make a late dive to the inside. Owen's going to go around the long way, and that's an absolutely superb move from the AlphaTauri driver. His teammate is spinning into the gravel completely by himself, while the other one rejoices in a beautiful move around the outside into the Tamburello chicane. He pulled off what Jake Davies could just a lap ago, and M-Shep then runs wide for his own good, falling into the clutches of Jacko. But what a move from the AlphaTauri driver.
Well, I was about to say, Blair Grills playing the ultimate number 2 driver role, immediately getting out of the way of his teammate. He makes an overtake. Yeah, fantastic move by him, an important one as well. That's going to let him get some free air and just attack after the cars in front, who he probably has the pace to catch.
Yep, obviously he lost some time with the spin with Jake Davies a couple of laps ago. The battle for second, as you said there, Jean, hotting up. We've got Speed Sully at the moment, P2, 1.8 seconds behind race leader Cena. Then we've got Dom Smith in third, Jack Craig in fourth. Dom Smith, we're hearing he ran out of ERS in his last lap in the middle sector, felt he could have been on for pole position comfortably, he says. And are we going to see him make a move on Sully down the main straight now? DRS wide open, Sully just hoping that he can defend. Cena is escaping, and is Dom going to make a move up the inside? He thinks better of it, and he's going to have to keep an eye on his mirrors as well for Jack Craig. Meanwhile, John Menzies has moved up into 8th place on those medium tyres, trying that strategy once again, and on a recovery from starting in P12.
Yeah, so something interesting I noticed there down the straight was Sully wasn't really losing time to Dom. Dom wasn't really closing in so much despite DRS, so that shows the effectiveness of the ERS on this game, how you can use that as defense. It burns out a lot quicker than the previous ones, but it's a lot more potent as well, so you can use it as a defense against DRS a lot better than you could on previous games. And I think that's what happened on the previous lap with Jack Craig, is he picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think he was using DRS and ERS at the same time to close in on Dom, who wasn't burning off his ERS like the cars around him. And I think that might show on the telemetry as well.
Dom Smith a lot closer this time round to Sully, though. Just 4/10 of a second back. Surely Sully is going to have to go defensive. He's got just over 50% ERS battery. Dom Smith, 95%. So if Dom Smith gets on the ERS as well as the DRS, then surely we're going to see a change in second place. Here we go then. He's on the RS, he's on the DRS, and as they head towards turn number 1, are we going to see a change in position for second? And at the moment, Sully just has the measure of him.
Yeah, there's a 10-kilometre advantage for Dom down the straight with the DRS. As we said in Australia, the DRS is not as effective on this game. It's... Oh, we've lost Jack Craig in the background. He's in the wall. I think he's kept it out of... Well, he's nudged it. I don't think he's damaged it, but he's lost a lot of time to positions there in the process. So that might be his involvement at the sharp end well out of the window.
John Menzies up in 6th now, though, John. He's got past Jacko on that lap and just got M-Ship to go, and he's picking up a very healthy point score as it goes.
Yeah, a good recovery from the Aston Martin driver. Joe's sort of coming along with him a little further back. He's in P8.
I tell you what, though, John, sorry to interrupt there, but the top 2 are catching Cena. It's only just over a second now. Is Cena going cautiously? Is he trying to preserve his tyres, maybe go a lap longer? But I have to say, he could be under pressure in a few laps.
Oh, he's locked up. He's gone off.
Oh, he's gone off. He's gone off. I don't believe it. Cena's gone off of the road, and Sully has taken the lead of the race. And Cena, from having a comfortable lead, we were saying he was losing time. He's just come into the pits, and Dom Smith now has a chance of taking the lead of the race.
And Cena's sped in the pits as well, so disastrous few corners for the Haas driver, as it gives Speed Sully the lead again. He's only led one race before in GP2, and he won it, so he'd be looking to maintain that 100% record of winning the races he's led.
Well, also, if Sully wins, we'll have a repeat of last week. Dom Sully, Dom Sully.
Yep, indeed. But Dom would like to put an end to that little pattern, and just take the win for himself. He's definitely got the ERS advantage though. Dom has barely touched it. Sully's down below around the 20% mark.
Are we going to see either of them peel into the pits? Sully,
that was a fourth.
I tell you what, Sully has pulled up a good gap as well as John Menzies now goes up into fourth. We said he was having a hell of a charge through the field, and to be in the top four now, obviously, we've had seen a pit. Meanwhile, Jacko is now all over the back of M-Shep, having M-Shep running wide. And he's going to go up the inside as we head towards the chicane. And late on the brakes, and tiny move there for the Mercedes drivers. John Menzies gets a bit squirrely coming out of the chicane.
This is a much better performance from Jacko compared to the first few races. This is the more Jacko of old, keeps it.
Dom's lost the RS.
Yep, by the slightest of margins.
Mayor Quimby pits. Owen Quimby then into the pit. We'll be going on to the medium tyres. Cena is all the way down in 11th place, so that is the position that Owen needs to be targeting to come out ahead of. And let's not forget, Cena has a 5-second penalty.
Cena's just made contact the Alpine of Kaya as well.
It's all going wrong.
He's being held up massively by the Alpine in front, so this is good news for Owen. He's going to come up pit lane now. He's going to hit the limiter, and away
he is ahead of Cena, ever so slightly, but Cena is going to have the advantage of warmer tyres. Through the first chicane, Cena's got to pounce quickly. He knows that. Owen's struggling. Owen's going to have to cover the inside line, which he does. Cena's going to have to go the long way round. Is he going to drive round the outside into Villeneuve? He's certainly going to think about it, but just about has to back off in the end. And we've got a spinner in the background. Is that Jake? It's Jake. I don't believe it. He's off again.
And there's very, very slow in Tosa, and that's allowed Kaya to get back past Cena. And he's having a look at Owen, he's going down the inside here. That's a bold move, and he's made it stick.
Oh, there's contact! There's contact as they head down the hill. Kaya getting in the way of this very good battle, and this is helping Cena, and Owen's now made contact with Kaya. Kaya sent spinning around. Owen's gone as well. Oh, Cena hit him, and Owen sent spinning around for the second race in a row. Owen has had contact with the Haas and spent spinning around. Meanwhile, in all this, Sully has pitted, but it all started because Kaya suddenly grew some testicles and got involved in the battle. Unbelievable stuff.
It's like that. He made two positions on two very fast drivers, and then I don't know where that came from for him.
Well, in other news, Sully is quite far ahead of Cena, so all that time lost for Cena hasn't helped him at all. Dom had closed to within just a few tenths before the pit stop, so Dom doing an extra lap with some better ERS obviously as well. Are we going to see a change? And Dom is pushing. He must be pitting this lap. He is pushing. He's using as much ERS as he dares into the chicane, attacking it as much as he can. Getting onto the throttle, using the ERS as well. He's really fancying a chance that he could perform an overcut here.
The gap currently is about 27 seconds as Jake has gone off again at the same corner for the second lap in a row. Mr. John gets a time penalty. Right, let's keep an eye on the gap. It's 27 seconds.
Dom pits. Right then, Sully, what have you got in your locker? He fires it into the chicane at the moment. He might know that Dom Smith has come into the pits. He's using his ERS now. He knows what he's got to do. He knows the task. And he's using all of the road, and he's even cutting the grass in the process. Into the final couple of corners now. He's run a little bit wide. That's not going to help him. Dom's tyres aren't going to be up to temperature yet. And he's getting towards the end of the pit straight. Sully, meanwhile, has just come onto the main part of the pit straight. Dom is about to turn off his limiter. There's a Red Bull passing. That's Mr. John. There's Sully in the background. Dom Smith, at the moment at least, has taken the net lead of the race. But where is Sully? Is he going to launch one up the inside into Tamburello? No. But Dom's run a little bit wide. As we said, Sully has got the tyre advantage now. He needs to make this count. And he nearly loses it coming out to Tamburello. And that was maybe his chance gone. And Dom Smith with the better ERS. And now track position. Is he going to be uncatchable?
Sully will still have a few corners just to close back in and get himself into the DRS range, but as soon as Dom gets those tyres heated up, that might be
it. It's hovering around the second mark, so this isn't over yet. John Menzies, meanwhile, is your leader of your race on that alternative strategy, but he has once again got a penalty. So it's not going plain sailing for the Aston Martin driver. Meanwhile, in your net battle for the lead, it's Sully versus Dom. No, I've said that all wrong. It's Dom versus Sully. As they head down the hill, the gap just 8/10 of a second. John, can you see Sully getting past Dom?
I think it's going to be a challenge at this point. He has got the DRS to close in, but the lack of DRS compared to his rival in front might be the deciding factor here.
Well,
and
John's pitted.
It's not. Yeah, John's pitted, and it's just sort of covered up the gap. I'm just trying to have a look at the gap, and you know what? Barely any inroads made with the DRS there. Barely a tenth.
Wow.
Dom was using DRS
he used a lot of
to
DRS,
defend.
didn't he?
And you've got another spin at the back there. It's Blair Grills. He's gone off at the last corner, so a disaster.
John Menzies just worth noting. John Menzies just 4 seconds behind Cena. Cena with a 5-second penalty. John, I believe, with a 3-second penalty. John could get a podium here.
Indeed, he can. He's going to be a little slow for the first lap or so because obviously the colder tyres. He's got M.
Oh, look at this, John! Look at this.
Well.
Dom's getting held up by Mr. John. This is not ideal for him at all. Oh, he's getting
John,
there's contact! That? Oh, they've all made contact with each other, and I don't know if any of them have got damage. Surely they've got some kind of damage. But it all started with John's hesitancy, and he's run a little bit deep, and this is going to cost Sully a lot of time. Now Dom's run off the track, and John gets finally out of the way, but surely there's going to be some damage for the two cars.
That was a poor piece of driving by the Red Bull. I'm sorry, that was just very, very clumsy. You know the two cars are there. You don't dawdle and slow down on the racing lane, on the apex. You just get out of the way at the exit of the corner, take it as quick as possible, and dive to the side.
Well,
so
John has now come into the pits. He'll need a change of tyres and probably a change of nappy as well with that. And after that slightly scary moment, and Dom Smith takes back the lead of the race. But has he got any damage? From the visual inspection, at least, it looks like he's got away with it.
Yeah, hopefully they both got away with it, because it'd be a real shame for the fight for the lead to be decided by such a silly piece of driving.
Yep. So, meanwhile, further back, M-Shep putting a lot of pressure on John Menzies, who hasn't really made very many inroads on these soft tyres, struggling perhaps a little bit. Jack Craig has picked another penalty right at the back. Jack Craig and Jake Davies at the back of the pack at the moment. The closest battle on track is that between M-Shep and John Menzies. John with a penalty, but with the soft tyres, just isn't able to make any inroads.
He's very twitchy on the exit of that corner as well. M-Shep doing a good job keeping up. I do think M-Shep actually did get ahead at one point, but John got him back down the main straight. So I think on John's outlap, he got passed by the Alfa Romeo, but retook the position. And now finds himself struggling to stay ahead of the Alfa. But he does have an ERS advantage over the car behind. So I think now, with the tyres heating up, John should start to pull away a bit.
Well, we'll find out. John then, Matt with next to no ERS left, trying his best, but at the moment, not enough. And Sully, meanwhile, has got that gap down to Dom to just 0.6 of a second. John, 4 laps to go. We still don't know who the race winner's going to be.
No, thankfully these two look like they got away without any serious damage there, and the battle is going to go to the wire then. Sully doing a fantastic job. Obviously, a debutant to the TGP League in TGP2, and he's doing a brilliant job so far. He's right near the sharp end already. He's been driving very well, very clean, very tidy. Doesn't get penalties either. He's doing a commendable job so far, and he'll be looking at getting another victory here.
Yep, Dom Smith with the ERS advantage still. About 50% more usable power than the Alpine driver. Gap just half a second now as they approach towards the line, a couple of corners. Just over 3 laps to go then. We've got a showdown. Sully is as close as he ever has been. Now, here we go. This his opportunity. Dom is having to use his ERS. Sully is having to use what he's got left of his ERS, and at the moment it's just not enough. He's gaining. John, he might be close enough to make a move. He's going to go the long way round. We've seen drama already with this. Speed. Sully has taken the lead of the Imola Grand Prix round the outside of Dom Smith under braking at the Tamburello chicane, and it's a change for the lead, and the Alpine driver in just his 4th race in TGP2 has taken the lead of the race.
That was a fantastic move. Brave to go on the outside. He tried to just send it hope that the Ferrari didn't quite have the confidence. And I think that's the thing. I think he's just more confident on the mediums than Dom has been. He just used the ERS he had to just go for it. He probably knew that was his one chance to get ahead. He's taken it, and now he's going to try and put away. But Dom is trying his best to stick with the Alpine driver. Cena, meanwhile, has closed him by a second as well. Obviously, his 5-second penalty is not going to help him too much, but it could be one to watch towards the end, perhaps. But here in
John, this isn't over yet. The gap is just 7 tenths. Dom, as we said, and Sully's only got 11% battery. He's going to be very vulnerable to Dom's ERS and DRS down the main straight. Are we going to see another change for the lead? Dom Smith using the ERS, using the DRS. He's come off of DRS, perhaps going to save it for the last lap. We're on the penultimate lap of the race, and down the main straight they come. Sully is doing what he can at the moment. It's enough to keep Dom Smith at bay.
I think Dom might tactically be thinking there to stay behind into the last lap to get the move done on the last lap and stay ahead. I think that might be the full process of the Ferrari. He turned off the ERS, he just sat behind. He's going to go for it on the next lap.
Well then, we've got a lap and a half to go. We still don't know who's going to win this race. We've had another eventful race in TGP2. We've had some fantastic racing once again. We've seen some brilliant overtaking manoeuvres, including, and so far, one overtake for the race lead. Are we going to get another? We've got a lap and a half to find out. Dom Smith is almost pushing Sully round this circuit, round Italy. Ferrari's home race. Can they see a Ferrari winner as well to go with it? Dom is giving it as much as he can. He's just 3 tenths behind the Alpine driver. We've got a yellow flag. Hopefully that won't mean a VSC, but look how close Dom is. He is as close as he has been. He's piling on the pressure with the RS. Sully has only got 14% battery left. Dom Smith, 46% battery. And as he comes into the penultimate corner, look how close he is. He's virtually pushing him round. And surely Dom Smith is well positioned to take the race lead as they come to start the final lap. The DRS is open. Sully has barely got any battery left. He can't really use any. Dom Smith is using what he can. He's going to go to the outside. And surely, as they head towards turn number 1, Sully is giving it what he can. But Dom Smith takes the lead. And he timed that to perfection. He tactically used his power to his advantage. And he has taken the lead of the race on the final lap.
Yeah, Dom using his experience there just to think tactically, keep a calm head, get himself in the right position to make the move when it mattered the most. It's going to be very tricky for Sully to make any inroads in this last lap to try and go for a Hail Mary at the end of the lap. Yeah,
we all know that Italy, very Catholic country, but it's going to take some godly experience now for Sully to win this race. Dom Smith in front of Ferrari's home crowd. He is getting all the applause, and he's got just a handful of corners to go to take his 3rd win of the season. Let's not forget, Dom missed the middle race. He missed Saudi Arabia last week, so this is his 3rd race that he's properly taken part in, and he's going to have a 100% win rate. Cena did close into these two, but with that penalty and with those mistakes, it wasn't enough. Dom then, with just 1 corner to go, he rounds the final corner. He's going to win his 3rd race of the season. He's going to equal the most wins in TGP2 history. Dom Smith wins again in TGP2. And after a last lap overtake, he did exactly what he had to do. He played the tyres, he played the battery, he played Sully, and he won the race yet again.
Yeah, fantastic victory for Dom there. What a battle between the two. Shades of Alonso Schumacher as well. The Alpine and the Ferrari. Nose to tail around the Imola circuit. Shades of 2005 and 2006. And in this occasion, it was more like 06 with the Ferrari winning out. A superb win for Dom. 3rd time in, 4 races this season. 3 that he's taken part in. He's looking formidable in this championship.
Well, he said coming into this season, he was hoping for a top 10, and so far he's had 3 first-place finishes and another commanding performance. We'll give you a rundown of the order. Dom Smith, your race winner. Sully, P2. Cena, recovered to P3. Owen, recovered to P4. John Menzies, with no grip on those soft tyres, P5. Joe Sayer, P6. Getting Jacko towards the end. And I think it was Angel versus Death that was in 8th. And we'll come back to everyone else in just a few moments. But it's now time to ride with Dom, your race winner, his 3rd race win of the season, and he has now equalled the record for TGP2 race wins. John Menzies, your driver of the day. And as we wait now for the podium celebrations, are we going to see another stupid emote with the steering wheel? I hope not, but I can imagine. Yeah, there it is. It's not elegant at all, is it? Not very professional, but nonetheless, I'm pretty sure that's broken Park Fermi rules as well.
Yeah,
but,
I was about to say, I thought that's illegal. That's illegal.
We'll see if there's a post-race penalty for Dom. Arav looks delighted as one of his mechanics, apparently. And the champagne is sprayed. Sully looks happy. Imagine he isn't. But we'll find out. I imagine someone who isn't very happy at all is Cena. And as they collate themselves for the podium photograph, we'll give you a rundown of the confirmed order then. So we got down to 8th. I got it right. Angel versus Death was 8th. Mr. John, P9 from starting 16th. M. Shep, P10. Blair Grills in 11th. Jack Craig in 12th. Kaya, 13th. And Jake Davies, 14th, after starting on the front row. Just missing out on points then are 2 retirements. Daniel P. Wheelnut and Stereogram. Oh, well, John, I have to say, 2 fantastic races again tonight. And this TGP2 season setting up really well, but I just want to ask, can anyone beat Dom?
That's going to be the $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, on this form, it's going to be tricky to see if anyone can, but there are guys, I think, with a bit more pace that might just be able to get back into things in the next few weeks. Dom just driving so well at the moment. It's not making any errors. It's just keeping a calm head, thinking tactically with some of the battles, and just picking up the pieces when need be. But he's also very quick. But we've been in this situation a bit with Ferrari this year, haven't we? With Leclerc I think he won 3 of the first 4 races, and then, well, look what's happened since. So anything can happen. But Dom looking very, very good early on here.
Well, really good race there from Dom, you have to say. I don't really know what's going on at the moment, John.
It seems like someone's not ready enough to get back to the lobby. So
anyway, there we go. So it's been another eventful week. Dom Smith is your new championship leader. He wins both races tonight. I'm definitely not wearing my Ferrari top when I commentate again. That's for sure. And it's been great fun as ever, and we look forward to seeing you next week where we're racing around Miami. First trip for TGP2 to Miami, and then racing around Spain, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yes, it is Spain, yes.
Thank you for saving me there, John. John, any last words?
Well, it's just another exciting night of TGP2 racing coming to a close, and I'm sure we're going to have more the same next week. 2 fascinating races, 2 very enjoyable races, and I'm sure we'll see the same again next week, where TGP2 returns.
Excellent. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you then. We're certainly going to be there in one way or another. He's been John Luke Taylor. I've been Mike Noon. This has been a TGP Series production. We'll see you on PS4.